तदो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8 and text number 38. So reading from the prayers by Kunti Maharani, coming close to the end of these prayers. Kevayam nama rupabhyam yadobhi sah pandavaha bhavato adarshanam yarhi ऋषिकानामि वेशितुः केवयं नाम रूपाभ्यां यदुभिः सह पाण्डवः भवदो दर्शनं यर्हि ऋषिकानामि वेशितुः केवयं नाम रूपाभ्यां यदुभिः सह पाण्डवः भवदो दर्शनं यर्हि ऋषिकानामि वेशितुः. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. As the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities, along with the Pandavas and Yadus, will end at once. Please repeat the translation. As the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities, along with the Pandavas and Yadus, will end at once. Purport. Kunti Devi is quite aware that the existence of the Pandavas is due to Sri Krishna only. The Pandavas are undoubtedly well established in name and fame and are guided by the great king Yudhishthira, who is morality personified, and the Yadus are undoubtedly great allies. But without the guidance of the Lord Krishna, all of them are non-entities, as much as the senses of the body are useless without the guidance of consciousness. No one should be proud of his prestige, power and fame without being guided by the favor of the Supreme Lord. The living beings are always dependent, and the ultimate dependable object is the Lord Himself. We may therefore invent by our advancement of material knowledge all sorts of counteracting material resources. But without being guided by the Lord, all such inventions end in fiasco. However strong and stout the reactionary elements may be. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanajalakaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhashya Dadeshadharine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada. So we are reading in the section where Kunti Maharani offering the prayers when Krishna is leaving, and then she is saying that without your grace, without your mercy, we are not protected in this world. We saw in the last verse also, the previous verse, where she was saying that You are leaving us today and you're thinking that now we are protected, but actually we are not protected. Though my son has become the king, but still there is no guarantee of protection. Unless Krishna protects someone, one is not protected. So that was the previous verse, and then today she's saying, Ke vayam nam rupabhyam. Ke vayam. Who are we? What is our value? Nam rupabhyam, or name, fame, whatever, or abilities. There's no value to all of this. Ke vayam nam rupabhyam. We might be very famous as the Pandavas and then Yadus and like that. But bhavato adarshanam yarhi. If adarshanam, if your grace is not there, then this fame and the glory and whatever name, it is all useless. As the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities, along with the Pandavas and Yadus, will end at once. So without the grace of the Lord, no matter that how famous we are, somebody might be very powerful, very famous in this world, but if an individual doesn't have any connection with the Lord, then this so-called worldly fame, it will vanish in no time. So it's a small purport, but there's quite a few points that we'll try to discuss one after another. So Prabhupada says, in his writing, without the guidance of Lord Krishna, all of them are non-entities. As much as the senses of the body are useless without the guidance of consciousness. So Pandavas are famous. And why they are famous? Because Krishna is their friend. And Kunti Devi knew very well that people might say that the Pandavas are such great warriors and heroes like that. But Kunti Maharani knows. She is saying, what is the value of my sons if Krishna is not there in her life? So that is the consciousness. That is the understanding of a devotee. Say, people might be calling us, oh, you are so great, you are so powerful, you are so famous. But what is the use of that fame? So Prabhupada is writing here, without the guidance of Lord Krishna, all of them are non-entities. Without the grace of the Lord, we might be someone very great in this world, but in actuality we are non-entities. If we subtract Krishna, everything is zero. This is a fact. But people are such rascals that they do not understand this fact. But who can deny it? The American body or Indian body may have a good name, but if it has no consciousness, what is its value? No value. So this is the understanding. This is what we learn in Krishna consciousness, that we might be having a great body, great intelligence, great opulence, but without Krishna, what is the use? Everything is zero. Like Prabhupada gives this example of, all this material accolates are like earning big zeros. Somebody is very educated, somebody is very intelligent, somebody is very powerful, somebody is very rich. These are all big zeros. But if one is not there, then all the zeros put together equal zero. So without Krishna, it's all zero. There this verse comes in the scriptures which says, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastra Japatapa Apranasya Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. So Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastram Japastapa. Somebody might be like born in a great family, Jati. Shastram, somebody might be a very scholarly person. And then Japa, somebody might be very expert in chanting the Vedic hymns. Tapa, somebody might be very austere. But despite all of that, if one does not have the Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya, one who is devoid of Krishna Bhakti, then this is compared to the apranashya dehasya, the body without prana. If there is no consciousness in the body, it might be a very beautiful body, but soul leaves. There is no consciousness. Then what is the use of that kind of a body? So Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya, without the bhakti, without the grace of the Lord, whatever fame, name, what we earn in this world, it is all useless. He has no value actually. It doesn't mean that we are against all this name, fame, opulence and all that. But the point is, without Krishna, it is all zero. Everything can be utilized in the service of Krishna. If somebody is very famous, he can utilize that fame to spread the glories of the Lord. So that is the real fame, right? Prabhupada actually, in the explanation of this particular verse, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya, he says that, he quotes that in India, in some communities, still there is a tradition that when somebody dies, the dead body, and there is a tradition that before they take him to cremation ground, they decorate the body nicely. They ask like, oh no, he liked, something special, like some nice cloth, put him some cloth, maybe, he might have some desire and he was very fond of something, so keep that also along with him. So nicely they decorate the body. But what is the use of decorating the dead body? Right? So all this name, fame, ke bayam nam rupyabham yadubi sa Pandava. Kunti Maharani is saying all this name, fame is useless. Bhavato darshanam yarhi. If your darshan is not there, if you do not look upon us, then what is the use of it? Will just vanish in no time. So without Krishna's grace, one is a non-entity. Right? So Prabhupada writes here, for a person devoid of devotional service to Krishna, his birth in a great family or nation, his knowledge or revealed scriptures, his performance of austerities and penance, and his chanting of Vedic mantras are like ornaments on a dead body. Such ornaments simply serve the concocted pleasures of the general populace. When the people become famous, or like say individual become famous, the parents are very happy. They feel so proud about, oh my son, look at this, he became number one, or he went to America or something like that. So this kind of joy and something Prabhupada is writing here, it serves the concocted pleasures of the general populace. It's a concocted pleasure. There is no pleasure actually in that. Somebody is feeling great about some temporary worldly fame and they're thinking this is a great achievement in life. It's a concocted pleasure. So without Krishna, so Kunti Maharani is in that consciousness that what is the value of my sons? People might be saying, oh, Arjuna is a great warrior. And there is incidents happens in the Bhagavatam that Arjuna quotes this verse in the first canto of 15th chapter, wherein we all know the story that after Krishna departed from this world, and then, all the queens, which is, under the protection of Arjuna, they're passing through one forest, and then there is this community of tribals. They attacked, and then Arjuna was a great warrior with all his Gandiva vow, but he was in a helpless situation. He couldn't protect the queens of Krishna, and that time he came to senses, he realized, and then he says this verse, Tadvai dhanusta ishava sarato hayaste soham rati nrapatayo yad atmanti sarvam chanena tadabud asad ishiriktam basman hutam kuhakaradhamivoptamosham. So what Arjuna's realization is, he says, Tadvai dhanushata ishavaha, that the same dhanush, same Gandeva vow, and then same Ishvaha, same arrows I'm carrying. Sa Rath Hayaste, the same chariot and the same horses, Hayas. So Ham Rathi, and I'm the same Arjuna. So Ham Rathi, I'm the same, whom Nrapatayo Yat Atmanti, whom all the kings, all the Nrapas, they bowed down. I'm the same Arjuna, with the same horses, same chariot, same Gandhiva bow, same arrows, everything is same. But Sarvam Chanena, in moment's notice, Tad Abud Asad Ishariktam. Ishariktam. Because now Krishna is not there. My Lord is not there here. Riktam, I am devoid of, the grace of my Lord. And then in moment's notice, everything has vanished. What happened to my power? And the same powerful Arjuna with the same Gandiva. But I found myself in a helpless situation. So without Krishna's grace, we might have some skills, some powers. But if that grace is not there, then despite all our abilities, we might be a failure. We will be a failure. Right? And it is compared with 3 examples here in this verse. All our abilities without Krishna's grace is like this. Bhashman Hutam. Hutam is like offering the oblations, offering the ghee, clarified butter into bhasman. If there is no proper fire, sometimes it is just the ash. So offering the ash, like offering the ghee into ash, what is the use? It's useless. And then kuhakaraddham. Kuhakaraddham means the money. Sometimes they produce by some magical wand. Some all these people they come and they show magic, they take out wand and then they'll take out some money. It will just vanish. It is not the real money. It is just illusion is being created there. So no use of that. And then evoptamosham, that's sowing the seeds on barren land. So without Krishna's grace, everything becomes so useless. So all this name, fame, Arjuna, though he was so famous warrior, but without Krishna's grace, he became, helpless. So Prabhupada writes in this purport that one should not be puffed up by borrowed plumes. Very important instruction for all of us. One should not be puffed up by the borrowed plumes. Even when the devotee they join the temple as a full-time devotees, brahmacharis, and in Krishna conscious, and like we are supposed to be renounced and detached. But then Krishna also sends sometime, some name, fame, everything will come. People will come, say, oh, Prabhuji, what a great singer, oh, what a great speaker you are. You are a great, something collector. Something, all that fame, you become like number one collector in our temple, number one singer in our temple. These are all fame. But one should be very, very careful. Prabhupada is saying, one should not be puffed up by borrowed plumes. Borrowed plumes. It is given to you. It does not belong to you. It is bestowed upon you for some reason. And actually Prabhupada very beautifully writes. I'll read that purport also. Very instructive purport. Before that I'll read that. What Prabhupada says. Kunti Maharani is saying that we simply say consciousness. Prabhupada is explaining in this lecture. But really consciousness means Krishna consciousness. Because without Krishna we cannot have consciousness. Without the sun, how can there be sunshine? Therefore we say sunshine and not just shine. Similarly, consciousness means Krishna consciousness. She gives the example that without Krishna they would be like the senses without life. In this material world we desire sense enjoyment. But without Krishna or without Krishna consciousness there is no possibility of sense enjoyment. We may have strong arms and legs, but when there is no consciousness, when there is no Krishna consciousness, we cannot even utilize them. So this is the understanding. So without Krishna, like our hands and legs and nice body, what is the point of without consciousness you cannot enjoy? Similarly, if Krishna is not there, then our attempt to enjoy or fame or any opulence or anything, it will result in frustration. We cannot enjoy without Krishna. That is the reality. Now, but devotee understand that. So this karmis, they are attempting constantly to enjoy without Krishna. And there's so many ways and means they have, manufactured to enjoy. But still, everybody is frustrated in this world, despite all their great attempts and efforts. Right? But because here Prabhupada is explaining, without Krishna one cannot enjoy. It is just like without consciousness, this body is useless. So no one should be, this is another point that Prabhupada writes in purport, no one should be proud of his prestige, power and fame without being guided by the favor of the Supreme Lord. Very important point for all the devotees, that nobody should be proud of his prestige, power and fame. It will come invariably. Though we have given up everything and joined the temple, but still everything will come. Prestige, power and fame. So Prabhupada explains in this purport, Prabhupada says this. It's a nice purport. All energies and powers are derived from the Supreme Source, Lord Krishna. And they act as long as it desires and cease to function as long as he withdraws. All electrical energies are received from the powerhouse, and as soon as the powerhouse stops supplying energy, the bulbs are of no use. In a moment's time, such energies can be generated or withdrawn by the supreme will of the Lord. Material civilization without the blessings of the Lord is child's play only. As long as the parents allow the child to play, it is all right. As soon as the parents withdraw, the child has to stop. Human civilization and all activities thereof must be dovetailed with the supreme blessings of the Lord. And without this blessing, all advancement of human civilization is like decoration on a dead body. It is said here that a dead civilization and its activities are something like clarified butter on ashes, the accumulation of money by a magic wand, and the sowing of seeds in a barren land. So, this is the understanding. One should never become puffed up of borrowed plumes. One should not be proud of his prestige, power, and fame. It will be there as long as Krishna wants, to use them through us for his service. And when Krishna sees, then it will vanish, it will withdraw. Right? So one should not be puffed up all this, name, fame, and all that. And then Prabhupada writes in one of the purport in Bhagavad Gita, what is the real fame for a devotee? Devotee should not feel proud and puffed up about, oh, now I become a number one something in the temple and everybody, recognize and realize my glories. And people comes, says, Prabhuji, you are great. So now I am really famous. But that is not the fame for a devotee. Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita 10.4 and 5, he says, Yashash, what is the true yash? What is the true fame for a devotee? So Prabhupada says, fame should be according to Lord Chaitanya, who said that a man is famous when he is known as a great devotee. That is what is the fame of a devotee. When we become famous, of course we should not strive to work hard of one day, I'll become a great devotee and then everybody will, recognize me that you are a great devotee. But that is the real fame, that if we are recognized as a great devotee, if one has become a great man in Krishna consciousness and it is known, then he is truly famous. One who does not have such fame is infamous. Right? One who is a great devotee is truly famous. And what kind of fame it is? It's undying fame. Example is Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was a very successful businessman. But we don't recognize, and nobody recognized Prabhupada as, oh, he was a great businessman. But everybody recognized Prabhupada as a great devotee of the Lord, who went around the world and, spread the Krishna consciousness and made millions and millions of devotees. And that is what is his fame. And Krishna wanted to give him that fame. Right? So, and then that is how Prabhupada is famous as now Jagat Guru, the savior of the whole world, the Acharya of the whole world. Right? So Krishna is also very eager to give that kind of fame to his devotees. What fame? It is not some temporary worldly fame, which with this body will go away or with the time it will vanish. Nobody will talk about that. But Krishna wants to give the undying fame to his devotees, like Srila Prabhupada. Eternally, he has become the Jagat Guru now. Why? Because the devotee does not work for his personal recognition and personal fame. He works hard only to glorify his Lord. And Lord in turn, in reciprocation, Lord gives undying fame. So that is the nature of the Lord, because Lord is very eager to give the fame to the devotee. In fact, we see that in Samudra Manthan, it is very interesting to note that how when Samudra Manthan was going on and a lot of things were coming out from the ocean, right, and some jewels and all of those things came in the beginning. And that the Supreme Lord Vishnu took away all that. Some Kaustuva jewels and some jewels like that. And then, when the poison came, then Lord did not take the poison. Lord is taking only good things. Some, valuable jewels and some few things like that. And when poison came, Lord is not taking the poison. Who took the poison? Lord Shiva. Vaishnava Nam Yadha Shambhu, the great devotee of the Lord. So somebody might, raise the point here that, looks like Lord is too chalu. All good things he took and some poison or something came like that, then he is not taking. He is telling you take. What is this? But we need to understand the mood of the Lord here, that Lord is capable of taking the poison. What is poison for Lord? There is no poison. But he wanted to give that undying fame to his devotee. And after taking that, the ocean of that, that poison, Lord Shiva, great devotee, he became famous as Neelkant. And now that Neelkant became eternally, his glories. So like that, Lord acts in such a way that he want to glorify, he want to make his devotees famous. Like we can learn from the life of Srila Prabhupada also. No, for Krishna, what is a big deal that Prabhupada comes to America and then he'll arrange all the resources for Prabhupada. Like you go, no problem. There will be people, there will be resources, there will be money, there will be manpower. Everything will be there for you. And you go and spread happily. But Lord did not do that. And people sometimes, like some new people who doesn't understand the philosophy well, they ask the question, hey, Prabhupada is a great devotee, he is a pure devotee. Still, why Krishna is not giving him and why Krishna allowing him to go through all these challenges? That is the glory of a devotee. Krishna wants to make a devotee famous. That look at my devotee and what it means to be my devotee. Despite all challenges, all reasons to quit, to give up, still my devotee never quits. That is what is the glory of my devotee, and that is what is the real fame of a devotee. Going through all the challenges, and then Prabhupada, strived hard to fulfill the desire of his Guru Maharaj. So that is what is the real fame for a devotee, right? So how we become famous? What is our real glory? Of course, we don't work hard for our glory, but we should understand what is our real glory. Our real glory, our real fame is not in, getting some number one or something like that. But if we strive hard to be strictly to abide by following the instructions of our Guru Maharaj, that is what is our real glory. Like Prabhupada, many people suggested, some ideas were coming that Swamiji, you should change this style. You should not talk all these 4 regulative principles. What you are talking here in this country, America? Who will listen to you? You should adjust a little bit something. Prabhupada says, let no one come and listen. But I cannot, compromise on the principles. That is what is Prabhupada's real glory. Abide by what he had learned from his Guru Maharaj and just follow that as it is strictly. So that is what it is. And on the contrary, we see the fleeting nature of the worldly fame and opulences. Somebody might be very famous, and many examples we see in this world. Like Prabhupada quote this example of this Alexander the Great. He was the conqueror of the world. At the age of 30, he expanded his empire across the 3 continents. He was just 30. Like many of us are like 30 here, right? He became the emperor of like 3 continents, like that. So famous, his military genius and his ambitions earned the immense fame and opulences and power and all of that. But then what happened? The story is at the age of 32, something happened. It is still a mystery that what happened. But he fell sick, and different people have the different version. He fell sick and he died. So what is the use of this kind of fame and glory? One can have that, but the nature of this worldly fame is temporary. Everything is temporary in this world. So one should not unnecessarily waste his time, in earning this kind of fame. Rather, one should strive to become a sincere disciple of our spiritual master. That is what is our real glory. So like that, many examples are there. In fact, this Steve Jobs also another example. The famous, the founder of Apple, corporation, and then very innovative. And in a very young age, he also became very famous. But then we all know that, he was diagnosed with some kind of a cancer. And that time, he realized that all this fame and name and whatever I have earned, it does not actually give me the real pleasure. And then, of course, in a different way, but they started changing their life, helping others and all that. But that is also, in one way it is okay, but ultimately, unless it comes to serving Krishna, everything is like temporary only. So this is the kind of and the fame that people, strive hard in this world to earn that fame. But the nature of all the fame in this material world is temporary and very fleeting. So one should be very careful, that one should not get succumb to all this becoming famous. Even in the devotee communities also we might get into trap of becoming famous and popular or doing something. One should not do that. If it comes also, Krishna can give also. But at the end of the day, we'll be frustrated by all that. That is the nature. Right. So I'll just read one more last point here and then one or two points here. Prabhupada says, We may therefore invent, by your advancement of material knowledge, all sorts of counteracting material resources. And without being guided by the Lord, all such inventions end in fiasco. So you see how everybody in this world, they are working hard, so much of advancement. But without being guided by the Lord, all such inventions end in fiasco. And we can see a lot of examples like in this modern age, the age of technology and all the innovations, the advancement that had happened in like last few decades, it is unparalleled in the history of humanity, right? And then idea was that they'll make a better society, better life. So people invented the high speed cars. Idea was people will save time. You have high speed cars, but it resulted in fiasco. What is the fiasco? People are stuck in the traffic jam now for hours and hours. This country is famous for nice roads and planned cities and everything. People are stuck like hours and hours in the. So this is what Prabhupada is saying. Invent that material knowledge, all sorts of countering material resources. Without being guided by the Lord, it will result in fiasco. People think, yes, this is the great achievement, this is a great innovation, but result will be counterpart. Like many examples, like social media is one such example. Originally the idea of social media is like people, especially in this country, people are like they are very lonely. Nobody is there to talk, no friends, and people go into depression. Say, okay, let us create one platform where people, they feel lonely, they can have some friends. Social media, and there is another platform where there's a whole another world will be there for you to chit chat. Now you see that all this Facebook, Instagram, it's a different planet where millions of people lives, and you are in a different world like that. So the idea was that people, those who feel lonely or something, it will be the solution for them. But it resulted in other way around. People became more and more isolated now, more and more lonely. There might be some 10,000 friends on Facebook, but there's not one single friend in reality. People are frustrated. So this is the nature of our modern inventions. Without Krishna's guidance, without guided by Krishna conscious, that is what happens. And like that we can go on talking so many examples. Every single example is like that only. You will see the flip side of it. So again, the point is, we are not against all the technology and everything, but the point is, if it is not utilized in the service of Krishna, then it is just simply mandanam lokaranjanam. It is just for some concocted pleasures you're trying to satisfy, like that. So all these inventions are like that. I was reading one nice conversation, just little portion I read. Prabhupada was talking to one of his god brother, Sridhar Maharaj. I did not read the whole thing, but I found this is interesting. So they were talking something, I don't know what is the context, but he was explaining that this Sridhar Maharaj was quoting, the context was that this is modern inventions and all of that, how it is the nature of this is fleeting and frustration. So you're saying one quoting like, Parvate Mushika Bhava. Like people expect that if some mountain is there and if mountain has to produce a child, the mountain is gigantic, then the mountain should produce a big child. That is the expectation of everyone. So mountain is now about to give the birth to the child. It should come out some big child. And people are waiting, and suddenly they see one small mice is coming. So this is the nature of this worldly inventions. Like people think, oh, he's a great scientist, he's a great man, he's a great company or great something, great innovation. Something great thing comes out, should come out. What comes out is there's some small mice only, some little sense gratification, and that will also result in frustration. So what has been seen like a famous, big mountain, and when the mice comes out, say, hey, useless fellow. This is what you're giving. So these modern inventions, modern scientists, they're like that only. So Prabhupada was saying that all big giant leaders of the world are producing like the mice. It is a dying substance. What is the use of all of that? You're working hard so much. Right? So what is the real fame? Real fame is that we sing every morning, we remind ourselves, Ebeyash Ghushuk Tribhuvana. Like the real fame is to spread the glories of our spiritual master throughout the world. And that is what is our real glory. That we should work hard how to spread the name and fame of our spiritual master. And when we are engaged and absorbed in spreading the glories of a spiritual master, then we can become free from all this, self obsession. That this is what is our conditioning. Then always, whenever we do something, we always look for some recognition, some pratishtha, some puja, some lava. It is so deep inside, deep rooted conditioning that people should recognize me. At least I did nice service. We want some fame. So that conditioning we can overcome only if we can somehow, absorb ourselves in spreading the glories, the fame of our spiritual master, the glories of spiritual master, and then that will be our real glory, real fame. So Kunti Maharani is, remembering when Krishna is leaving, Ke Vayam Namarupabhyam, what is the use of all this name, fame, whatever we want, Bhavato or Darshanam Yarihi, without your darshan, without your grace, it will just vanish. This is the nature of this worldly fame and name and all that. Okay, so these are some of the thoughts on this verse. Let me pause here and see if anybody has any quick question or any comment. Anybody wants to add something? Yeah, every example is like that. Yes. Right, right. So yes, Krishna always work in such a way that he want to make his devotee very famous. And devotee should work hard to make, we can make Krishna famous, but we can still, this is our humble service to the Lord to spread his glories. Okay.